Are you wasting time blocking out your calendar? Time blocking often fools us into feeling productive, but in reality, our schedule gets messed up fast. In this video, I'm going to show you a simple way to use all-day events so you will finally feel in control and know what to do next. Hello everyone, Scott Friesen here at Simpletivity, helping you to simplify your tools and take back control. And here we are within a calendar, and I imagine you have spent time blocking things out within your schedule. And I don't mean actual appointments, things where you are meeting in a video conference, things where you're meeting someone in person, things where you're making an actual phone call. I mean all of the other activities that you need to get done. Maybe it is revising your website or some ad copy. Maybe it's reviewing a budget like you see here. Maybe I need to spend some time canceling a number of subscriptions because I don't need to use so many tools. I want to simplify and save money. You're blocking out periods of time on your day. Now, I think the concept of time blocking is a good one, right? What gets scheduled gets done. Just like you wouldn't miss a doctor's appointment because you've scheduled it, you've placed it for a specific time and place. That's the idea around time blocking. But the reality is quite a bit different. You're going to take a look at this review next year's budget and say to yourself, I don't have to do it at that exact time. So if someone else schedules a meeting or something else comes up, I can shift it and I can move it around. The other thing that happens constantly when you are following the time blocking technique is that things will come up and suddenly you're playing a game of Tetris. If I move this here, then I've got to move this one over here. And if this meeting gets switched to this part of the day, well, then maybe I have to bump that to Friday. And you can quickly start spending more time shifting things around than actually getting things done. Well, I think there is a much simpler way, a more effective way for us to manage those key tasks and those key things that we want to accomplish. And it involves using your all-day events space. Now, you're probably familiar with putting things such as maybe a stat holiday or vacation as an all-day event. Or here you can see I've reminded myself that Jane's birthday is on Friday. But I think we underutilize this all-day event area because it's the place where I go to put my most important tasks, things that I need to get done on that particular day. So, for example, you can come up to your all-day event area and say, let's write this week's newsletter. Maybe that's the task that I need to accomplish today. Very simple, right? Very quick and easy to record and capture. Let's add another one as a part of our example here. Maybe I need to email the team regarding the weekend party that we're having here at the end of the year. So I've got a few things. Some can be larger. A lot of them can be smaller. It doesn't really matter the duration of those particular tasks, but we want to place them as an all-day event. Why? Here's a couple of key benefits. Number one, they are not going anywhere. So no matter if I scroll up or down or how I look at my day, they are always going to be front and center. If I prefer the day view, scrolling early in the morning, late in the afternoon, they are always going to be front and center. So they're hard for me to ignore. The secondary benefit by using this technique, by putting your key tasks directly in your calendar, is you don't have to jump to some other app. In my example, I'm using Google Calendar, so I could incorporate Google Tasks, but maybe you're not a fan of Google Tasks. Maybe you like something else. What if we could reduce all of the switching between tabs and switching between apps? You can have your key tasks here as an all-day event. One of the biggest benefits that I've experienced by managing my tasks as all-day events is seeing their relation with everything else in my week. Now, my personal preference is to view my entire week, like you see here on the screen. I'm often not in strictly that daily view. So, for example, writing this week's newsletter, maybe the newsletter typically goes out on Thursday. I could perhaps defer this to Wednesday, which is just as easy as dragging things over. But if I know that the newsletter needs to go out before Thursday, that's going to ensure that I do not defer this task until it's too late. I'm seeing that relation with other dates and perhaps other tasks or other events on my calendar. Same with this emailing the team about the weekend party. I don't want to wait until Friday. That's going to be too soon. They're not going to be able to take action. So I'm constantly being able to see the relation of that task with other things on my calendar, but also with other dates as well. And as you just saw me do a moment ago, it is so easy to simply click and drag and move things around. The other great thing, as opposed to many of our task managers, is that we can add additional pieces of information. Down in the description area, regardless if you use Google Calendar, Microsoft Outlook, or some other calendar app, you are going to have a description field where you can format, you can add bullet points, you can attach documents, you can add links. All of that information here, which is going to be related to that particular task. In addition, if you choose, you could have your own calendar type or calendar category if you want that to sit separately or be different from other tasks on your list. You can also change the color of those tasks. So maybe email-related tasks are going to be this red, whereas other tasks, which maybe involve writing or reviewing documents, could be a shade of blue, for example. So you can categorize them in a number of different ways as well. Don't forget the power of having those description fields. And that brings me to another benefit, depending on how you like to manage all of your tasks. So, for example, writing this week's newsletter may incorporate a number of different things. Well, maybe it's great for me to put in all of the subtasks. Maybe this is more of a project that I want to accomplish today, or at least get started on today. And then I can put in all those subtasks that are going to happen next directly into this description field. I've also used that description field constantly for taking notes. Maybe it's an ongoing task, or maybe I need to follow up with someone based on a phone call or an email that I sent last week. I can keep a running record of all of the notes, of all of the updates within that description field. The front of my calendar remains clean and tidy, but when I go to open it up, I'm going to have all of that relevant information waiting there for me. So if you want a calendar that feels calmer and also allows for a lot more free space, why not explore using all-day events? And if you want even more ways to simplify your tools, I encourage you to click on one of these videos next. Or if you'd like to work with me personally to build a custom setup just for you, visit me at simpletivity.com. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, you deserve to work without feeling overwhelmed.